am all for creators having the freedom to make what they feel passionate about without facing restrictions or censorship. And I talk a lot about companies like Xbox, Sony, Valve, and even occasionally Nintendo censoring games to be more appealing to what they call modern audiences. And now Phil Spencer has decided to come out and praise developers who refuse to fear cancel culture, and he even called on the industry to turn away from dividing players and creators. I have a bunch of things to show off, but before we get into the topic at hand, if you enjoy the content that I create, please make sure to subscribe to the channel and hit the notification bell. Follow me on social media like Twitter or mine so that you can see when my content is posted. And of course, if you do really enjoy the videos and the live streams that I create, please consider becoming a Dark Titan via Patreon for just $1 a month, or support the channel via YouTube memberships. All of the links are in the description, and of course, I do really appreciate all of the support. So this is a Bounding into Comics article that I wanted to start with. It says, Xbox head Phil Spencer praises devs who refuse to fear the current culture of criticism and cancellation, and calls on the industry to turn away from dividing players and creators. And obviously this statement right off the bat is great, but I do have some problems once we start digging into it because their actions do not completely reflect their statements. It says, though, he offered his praise to these truly passionate creators on January 17th while addressing attendees of the 12th annual New York Video Game Awards after being awarded the event's Memorial Legend Award, which serves to recognize individuals who have made a significant impact within the industry. He said, today there are so many games more than ever before available to players than ever before, but also it can feel like there is more despair in the world, a steady stream of bad news. With the ongoing leapfrogging from crisis to crisis, it feels to me that joy I experienced as a child has become much more elusive for all to find more of a guilty pleasure. He talks about how video games are so impactful on people and how, each one is designed to deliver an infusion of joy in the midst of our lives, to give us so much joy people want to talk about and to share it. All of us here today, all of our teams around the globe, we're all part of creating this echo effect of joy, and then he turns his attention back to the industry itself. And I, of course, talk a lot about video games on the channel. I live stream them, I discuss them, and they do bring so many people so much joy. But of course, over the past few years, it has also brought a lot of division into people's lives because, of course, look at something like Hogwarts Legacy. If you go on social media and say that you are playing a game, there are individuals who will attack you and criticize you and call you awful things simply because JK is the one who created the franchise. Even though she has nothing directly to do with the game, that division is there, which unfortunately isn't just because of individuals, but it is also because of some creatives, because there are creators who, again, use their games as platforms. They can grandstand about their personal opinions. It says, though, our creators who bravely and intentionally release their visions to the world, particularly in the current culture of criticism and cancellation, he specified, our players who bravely and intentionally carve out time for our games to invite, rest, and rejuvenate their lives, and business leaders were called upon to have the courage to protect and nurture this collective joy. We're called on to incubate these experiences, create them, and grow them. And obviously, I think that this is a pretty great statement. He is praising creators who are brave and intentionally releasing their vision to the world, but I have had to talk about a handful of instances over the past couple of years where Xbox has forced censorship upon games with content that they deem as being too offensive, and unfortunately a lot of titles don't really pass the internal check system they have. But he also said to seek and surround ourselves ourselves with a multitude of perspectives to honor our differences across experiences and geographies, and to practice empathy when intentionally listening to others. We turn away from dividing players and creators and instead towards each other as we advance and amplify joy together. This is the echo effect of gaming joy. Thank you for this honor tonight, and thank you all for making the brave choice to put joy into the world. Now, usually when I talk about gaming companies like Sony and Valve, it's because they are forcing a lot of developers to censor a lot of their content, or they ban it from their platforms altogether. But my issue with Microsoft has been a little bit different, because while yes, we occasionally hear about games getting censored on their platform, their big issue is toxicity. They are constantly going after toxic gamers. They have said many times over the past few years they want cross-console ban lists, they want to tighten moderation, and Phil himself has even said toxicity is not okay and their platforms are not free speech. The problem with all of this is that they don't define things like toxicity, so when they implement more rules and regulations, they're still being vague and our accounts can get banned over basically anything. That does cause division when you're calling people toxic and you're calling them negative and you're saying you can't talk to your friends on Xbox Live the way you want to, even if it's in a private message, because private messages are internally recorded and they can be reported and then your account can get banned. So there is that divide because of Microsoft systems. Again, I've talked about it before, but Microsoft's Xbox team has a plan to fight toxic gamers. Phil Spencer says Xbox is not a free speech platform for things like politics. And then, of course, developers keep that in mind, that they don't want to create games for the, individuals that are deemed toxic by companies like Microsoft. But this statement in general that Phil Spencer has made is pretty good. These are things that should be praised, but I also think that it's important to talk about the issues that we have with Microsoft as well, because they are trying to sound like they are great and wonderful and everybody is welcome on their platforms and they want to bring everyone together, but that isn't completely true. Creators who show their vision to the world should be praised for not caring about backlash they may face. Creators should strive to bring people together and not push them apart. Sadly, though, we see a lot of division in entertainment because creatives are so worried about the message that they forget to make something that most people will find entertaining. And then, of course, people who agree with the message love it, people who don't agree hate it, and then everyone argues about it, causing that divide. And you can't please everyone all of the time, but they should aim for bringing people together. And these are very good statements to make, even though in the past they have actually caused quite a bit of divide themselves. It says, though, unfortunately, his calls and sentiments for unity and positivity were severely undercut just a day later when his employer announced that they would be laying off roughly 10,000 employees, including some members of Bethesda and 343 Industries. And of course, this caused a lot of major controversy for them over the past couple of days. It is unfortunate to hear that so many employees got laid off, especially right after he was talking about unity and everyone trying to make it as a team. It doesn't look very good for Microsoft, but I do think that these are very good statements from Phil Spencer. All I hope is that Xbox does actually stand by these statements and they do continue to support developers who refuse to fear the current culture of criticism and cancellation. And I do really hope that they continue to strive for turning away from dividing players and creators and bringing people together, even though they do have a rocky past when it comes to cancellation and censorship. But that's all that I really had to discuss in this video. Let everyone know your thoughts in the comment section down below. If you enjoyed it, please make sure to give it a like, share it, and subscribe to the channel. And of course, if you didn't, make sure to give it a dislike. I appreciate your support either way, but I will talk to you all again in the next video really soon.